Well, it's that time of the year for school superintendents, school principals, and teachers when it's kind of hard to control the kids a little bit because they're so excited. Christmas week is here. Let's talk to Clint Weimer. He's the superintendent of the Marion Center School District, joining us this morning. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Clint, good morning.
Good morning.
This is
Good morning.
It is an exciting week for the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing some fun stuff over the last week or so. The themes for Christmas and so forth, and kids are excited and seem like they're in the holiday spirit. So
yeah,
we're excited to lead up to the break and give the kids some time off to enjoy the holiday season and spend time with their families.
Well, one of the interesting things about that is I think that we don't understand, or maybe we don't remember as well, how much work is put in the average day by a student in order to really be a successful student. And you go hard at it from September until you get to this time. And it's needed, not only for the students, but for the teachers and administrators as well. You need to take that break, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of events and activities and extracurriculars the kids are all part of, but the academics is woven in there. And for those students that are taking a full schedule and participate in extracurricular, it's a long day and a lot of hard work, and you touched upon that. So I think students and staff alike are much needed of a break, and of course when we come back after the first of the year we'll be right back after it. But I know the students and staff, especially as we've been dealing with this pandemic, deserve this much-needed break.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because the masking policies, of course, were the big issue here in the last week or so. And every school district in Indiana County went to a policy that is much like the one that you had. Of course, as you explained in your letter to the public, it does come with its concerns when you go optional masking, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And again, over the last several months, we've been leaning on the students wearing masks to limit the number of students that are quarantined. When those masks come off, our quarantine numbers are definitely going to go up. But we're doing everything we can to keep our students and staff safe and playing by the rules here at Marion Center the best we can.
Yeah. Now, you're going to meet tonight with the school board. You're going to be a part of that discussion of the revised policy and basically the reinstatement of the previous policy. When it was first instituted at the beginning of the year, were you seeing increased numbers just from of students that needed quarantined?
Yeah, our quarantine numbers at the beginning of the year when we weren't wearing masks were much higher than when we were wearing masks. Just because of the way our campus is set up, we cannot social distance. Some of my neighbors may be able to do a better job at social distancing, depending on the number of students they have within their school. We social distance to the maximum extent possible, but we know we value our students to be here on campus, so we have them here, and we do our best to social distance. But again, with the masks being off, it does increase those number of quarantined students, because before, when they were wearing masks and they were close contact, they did not have to quarantine.
So when you think about the revised policy and the way that you're going to handle quarantining this time, is it any different or are there modifications made to the way it was done prior to this?
As of right now, today, we are quarantining and contact tracing exactly as we have since the start of this process. Whether, we followed the rules with the masking and how the rules applied to quarantining then. But as of right now, we are where we were at the beginning of the year when students were not wearing masks, and we are quarantining those close contact students, of course. But tonight there will be discussion at the board level on what that current policy looks like and what recommendation the board is going to place to move forward.
And I'm sure that you look at what other school districts are doing, maybe not as a model or a guide to you, but just as an awareness thing to say, okay, well, this school district is handling it this way, this one's that way. And you've got the recommendations from the CDC, the Department of Education, probably the School Boards Association. There are a lot of people, a lot of resources for you to avail yourselves of in this whole conversation, aren't there?
Absolutely, and we look at all those. I've spent the last week extensively looking to see what's changed, what has not changed, and what we can apply here at Marion Center. I do keep my board informed of what our neighbors are doing, but again, each school district's unique based upon their facilities and their community. And as we go into our meeting tonight, we're going to work out the details of our health and safety plan moving forward. But yeah, we all communicate very well in Indiana County, Todd, as I think you know. Mm-hmm. Very fortunate to be part of the work with all our neighboring school districts. And everybody's a little bit unique, but we're all doing something very similar, just trying to support our kids and get through these challenging times, to say the least.
You know, I just mentioned a number of different entities: State School Boards Association, Department of Education. Of course, the teachers have their statewide union, their national union as well. Is there that sort of structure for school superintendents or school administrators as well? Do you have that sort of resource available to you for general policies, not just this?
Yeah. Pennsylvania Association for School Administrators, PASA, is who we lean on. Mark Del Rocco is our president of that. So he immediately pushes out anything that's coming out of Harrisburg to the superintendents and principals. So we all have our agency. PASA is who the superintendents lean on for a lot of up-to-date information. Mark and the team down there is who advocates for us on issues and bills and things that are occurring in education to support the districts across Pennsylvania. So yes, we do have that conduit for support.
It's a pretty good organization.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Mark does a nice job down there and keeps us informed. As much as we'd like to get more involved with advocacy and so forth, it's a challenge during the pandemic. But he does a good job to represent us, and PASA has been very supportive through the pandemic.
That's terrific. That's terrific, because you need those sorts of resources. I would imagine that some ideas come up and some issues that maybe some people hadn't considered, that all of a sudden you say, you know, that really works and it's working there, and maybe that's something for us. We'll have to explore that. Maybe there's some things that come up and say, well, my goodness, we hadn't thought about that, and that'll have to be addressed immediately. That sort of feedback is almost immediate when you have an organization such as that.
Absolutely, and up through the start of this school year, we met at least weekly as an entire group via Zoom across into the state, all the superintendents, just trying to navigate the rules and regulations and get the best possible feedback to apply best practice to our staff and students. And like I said, been very helpful. At times, Todd, I'm sure as you know, and as Indiana County knows, it's been very confusing, and the direction coming from Harrisburg sometimes goes, two steps forward and then turns around and goes backwards again on us. So we're just doing our best to keep up with it and trying to do our best for our communities.
Absolutely. All right. So the next time we talk with you, Clint, you'll be in the second semester and headed toward the end of basketball season almost, and thinking about spring sports and those sorts of things, but spring academically as well. We'll be talking with you in late January. What does the second semester look like for you? What are some of the hopes that you have for what's coming up in the next 5 or 6 months?
Well, my number one priority is to continue to deal with the ongoing pandemic and keep our kids in school. Keep our kids in the seat as much as possible so they can prepare for the academic challenges as we move into spring. We know from January to the end of the year is a grind. We don't have breaks, and as many breaks as you would over Thanksgiving or Christmas or so forth. So we want to keep student spirits up. We want to keep them here to get prepared for that. And as, of course, continue to have successful extracurricular, to offer a little bit more to the students. That way they have a full high school experience. We're excited to have the kids on campus, not having to deal with the alternating schedules and so forth. So until this pandemic gives us some a little leeway here, backs off some, our goal is to keep our kids in school here on our brick and mortar as much as possible to prepare them, because there is a ton of learning to occur. The state assessments are coming up in the spring, and that causes anxiety. And we just want everybody to be prepared and enjoy the time that they spend here.
I only have one more question for you, Clinton. It has to do with reaching the halfway point of a fiscal year. From the superintendent's standpoint, from the administration standpoint, you have to look at the way the budget has worked out so far and what was expected and what was unexpected in terms of finance, what's working in terms of technology, all of these different things. Are you in pretty good shape as we end the first half of this fiscal year?
I think we're on track as we are every year in the same scenario. School districts are always needing more resources because we always want to provide more for our students. But again, the biggest challenge, I think, over the last year or so is managing the grants that are coming down from the state and how to utilize that money for the best interest of our students and make sure we continue to keep the district in a good fiscal standpoint. So we're okay. We're moving forward. But thanks for reminding me budget season's coming up, Todd.
I'm sorry if I ruined your holiday, Clint.
Absolutely not, but it's one of the things in this job that after the first year, that's what we do. We put on our budget hat and we begin to start preparing for next year. So we'll get through it, as Marion Center always does, and we'll come out on top, and we'll continue to do the best we can for the students we have here. That's for sure.
Well, I hope I didn't turn you into a Grinch because your colors are already green at Marion Center. So,
no, we'll deal with that when we get back off of break.
There you go. Clint Weimer, Superintendent, Marion Center School District. Best wishes to you and everybody in the Marion Center family for a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we'll talk with you next year.
Same to you, Todd. Thanks for the time.
All right. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160. AM 1160.